In this in-depth video, we're going to delve deeper into one of the features of our theatre-specific software, Control Group Queues. We're showing it here on our Quantum 7T, but the software feature we're going to look at is exactly the same on the SD10T and the SD9T. Control Group Queues are an integral part of theatre show programming in Digico T software, and the focus of this feature centers around the programming of your control group or VCA faders. With large theatre productions running with hundreds of queues and sometimes with as many channels, sound designers and operators need a programming workflow that ensures they have the correct channels mapped out in front of them at every point in the show. With complex or fast-moving scripts to follow, it's one of the key enhancements that our T software offers over the regular live software. So let's take a look at how it works. I have a session set up here with 20 queues and a couple of banks of input channels for the principal cast members, as well as the chorus and band channels. And for each queue in the show, we need to program CG membership. In our SD Live software, this would involve manually storing an assignment for each snapshot. When dealing with a large number of queues and changes with almost every queue, it would be a time-consuming process to make the changes and the subsequent adjustments. The Control Group Queues panel provides a spreadsheet-style interface that allows for fast, logical programming. Down the left-hand side of the panel is the queue list, and across the top are the CGs. They start with default CG names, so we'll clear these out in a moment and start our programming. And this panel works best when operated using the keyboard and mouse. It's all about speed and efficiency of operation. You can operate it using the screen, but the keyboard and mouse make it so much faster. So let's take a look at the functions. First up, we have the ripple function. This means that assignments we make are not only for the queue we're programming, but the assignment ripples down to the following queues. It won't overwrite any existing assignments, but if you're working from the top of the show down, it makes programming much faster. And this ripple also applies to the clear function. So using either the clear button or right-clicking with your mouse, we can go ahead and clear out these default names. You'll see the ripple function in action, clearing the names all the way down the queue list. Remember, you don't need to update the queues or store the changes. These are automatically written to the session. Now we need to assign some channels into the CGs. Pressing the Assign button opens a floating panel that allows us to select the channels. By default, it's filtered to input channels only, but we can access any channel on the console. And the channels are arranged in the panel exactly as you'd find them on the work surface, so it's easy for you to find the channels and navigate the panel. So selecting channels here makes the CG assignments. Instead of selecting individual channels, you can select predefined sets of channels. This just makes programming faster. Sets are programmed in the Channel Sets panel. You'll find this in the Layout menu. And just like in an Excel spreadsheet, you can use the Shift key on the keyboard to select multiple channels for CG assignments, or to add and remove channels from sets. It's worth remembering that if you've selected multiple channels, you can convert this selection to a set for use again later. Just select the cell and press Create New Set. And finally, we have the All Settings and CG Members Only buttons. This selection affects what is assigned when the CG assignments are made. The default state is All Settings, and this means that when assignments are made, you're actually assigning in aliases. Again, this streamlines the workflow. Instead of having to assign a channel to a CG and then make sure the correct alias is selected on the channel, this combined action ensures you always have the right channel and alias selected and assigned. Of course, if you want to change CG membership and not touch alias programming, you can select CG Members Only, and only the CG assignment will be made, leaving the channel settings and alias selection exactly as it was. If you need a refresher on aliases, check out the previous in-depth video on our YouTube channel. There's one final element to our CG programming, and that's the auto mute function. This is on by default, and you can check the status of this on each CG channel on the CG channels themselves. The auto mute automatically controls channel mutes. When a channel is added to a control group, the channel is automatically unmuted. And when a channel is removed from a control group, the channel is automatically remuted. This ensures that channels are only open when under CG control and saves an additional step of manually programming channel mutes. You can of course make manual mute adjustments, but the auto mute takes care of the majority of your channel mute programming. To make the most of your Digico Theatre console, it's really worth spending the time to learn this control group cues function. And for more in-depth theatre and SD videos, head over to our YouTube channel now.